Welcome to part two of the collective healing of feminine wounds. Hello, this is Kelara Star Being from healinnerbeing.com. I decided to do a part two on this topic because it is so deeply ingrained within the core of the collective. There's so much that can be said when it comes to healing the wounds of feminine energy. And so, again, I must reiterate that this is not gender specific. It is just as much as an issue for the masculine or the males on the planet as it is for females, because we all have both feminine and masculine energy within our energy field. And so there are many men or masculines on the planet that are suffering with severe feminine wounding that could benefit from this video and definitely have a responsibility to heal these wounds from within. Many of them either hate women or despise them deeply and have no idea that this is coming from past life situations. And even this lifetime, of course, but it's definitely a more core soul issue. It's not just about hating women, it has a lot to do with what's going on within themselves. The psychological damage that many of us suffer, no matter the gender, again, it comes from past lives where these infractions began. The traumas and abuse from previous lifetimes have been coming to the surface for quite some time now and are responsible for the continuation of cycles of toxicity and dysfunction that many people are still finding themselves in. You can definitely tell how much damage you have suffered in previous lifetimes by your emotional and mental state at this time on the planet. Even if you had a pretty decent life and you've had a pretty decent childhood this lifetime, there will still be much emotional turmoil or even inner torment that is signaling a need for soul level healing. You may find yourself constantly cycling through dysfunctional relationships or even unable to connect in relationships in a healthy manner. If you have been in constant cycles of betrayal, abuse, and trauma, these are signals that you need to go inward to transform these karmic cycles into light, or let's say into a higher state of consciousness, which is in fact light. If you don't, then they will continue to loop and cycle within your life until you do so. What I've noticed in my tarot readings is that for women in particular, women who struggle in relationships in this lifetime, they are totally unaware that many of the so called soulmates or people they are connecting with are simply continuations of a karmic cycle that needs to be closed out. We can only close out or end these cycles when we transcend the negativity. We must learn how to transform into a higher state of being by learning our life lessons in order to move forward into a higher state of consciousness. I know I just said that, but bear with me. Hmm. When we keep meeting the same kind of people or keep having the same energetic experiences, it's like being with the same person but in a different flesh suit. It doesn't matter if it's male or female, romantic or just a friend. If you keep recycling the same negative experiences with different people, it's time to get the message. It's time to transform from within. Since we can only attract what we are, the karmic imprints on our energy field will continue to attract more of the same. Each lifetime where we experienced betrayal, abuse, and other narcissistic experiences, each time we failed to reconnect with our higher self, a little more of our soul became fragmented, causing us to become even more blinded by the disillusion of separation. The disillusion of separation causes us to feel or believe we are disconnected from the one true source creator. It eventually causes us to become desperate and codependent due to intense fear and lack. All of this affects our consciousness. It affects our conscious ability to connect to self love and self worth. This was always the plan of the malevolent forces from the beginning. Again, their intentions have always been to keep us bound to low vibrational frequencies, which allows them to siphon our energy and keep us cycling through reincarnation loops. During this lifetime, many of us suffered from a lack of self love very early in life. We were actually programmed as toddlers, usually by family members, to feel unworthy or undeserving. These low vibrational frequencies allow these narcissistic beings to siphon our energy from a very early age. The Jezebel spirit that has ran rampant on the earth has programmed many of us to believe that the external is what gives us value, so that we are blind to the toxic, wretched environment of our inner being. This is why many women think getting a mani-pedi, designer nails, or a new weave is an act of self love, all while their souls are perishing. I mentioned in part one that Black Moon Lilith will be in Scorpio until December 2025. So keep in mind, this is going to be a deep dive into the shadow of the collective consciousness. This energy is here to support us in healing and in our personal healing journey. We are in a time of needing deep shadow work, and the amount of healing each person needs will be very specific to your journey. It's important to note that these karmic energies have been surfacing or coming to the surface since 2012. Therefore, if we have not been doing the work to clear, heal, and transform, if we have not been in self reflection and inner healing, we may still have quite a bit of distorted energies coming to the surface at this time. Again, this healing journey is uniquely yours. Therefore, don't bother comparing yourself with others. Instead, instead of seeking answers externally, it would be very important to go inward, to go within, connecting to your higher self and your illuminated ancestors or spirit guides for clarity and assistance. I find that there is nothing more confusing than seeking in the external spiritual community for answers to our soul's journey. Sure, you can receive confirmation and inspiration. That's what this video is. However, we should not become dependent upon the spiritual belief systems or experiences of others. We must learn to tap into our own spiritual gnosis. This is because we are all here for very different, unique, and specific reasons. No two journeys are the same. And often, when we look to others for our truth, we are completely led away from our true spiritual mission, or we end up taking detours that can last for years. When we learn to trust our inner guidance, only then can we truly be on our spiritual path. And even that takes time because we've been conditioned and programmed to not trust ourselves. So, if you struggle with trusting your own inner guidance, be patient and compassionate with yourself. Create a spiritual practice that allows you to connect with your higher self on a daily basis. And as you learn to trust the messages that you receive from your inner being, your spiritual gifts will become stronger. Know that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. Okay? Well, I will end it there. I don't know if there's going to be a part three to this or not. I'm just kind of going with the flow and allowing my higher self to guide me to express that which I need to express to the collective. And so thank you for sticking with me, hanging out with me today. And please feel free to reach out. My website is healinnerbeing.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. And so I love you dearly and hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.